Okay, hey y'all. I am going to be starting a little series on breeding updates and kind of vlogging everything that happens. So I know I'm starting a little bit late. It has been so busy lately, but I finally have a break. I have like a week and 1 weekend free, so I can kind of just do whatever, prep. I do have to prep for a mini convention, but besides that, I have a couple does I need to rebreed because their litters passed and have problems and stuff. They're brood does, so I can breed them whenever I want, as long as they're not due at a time I'll be gone. So I got double check that to make sure they're not due while we're on vacation, because I think that's in June though. I think they're gonna be due at the end of May, so I think we'll be good. But anyways, this is gonna be like basically the upfront, how this works, struggles, accomplishments. I know this year has been rough for everyone, including me. I've had more problems with successful does I've owned for years and have bred for years, with plenty of success, like 0 problems, and then they'll randomly odd behavior, weird litters, a lot of random deaths, which is very common in rabbits. They basically, their favorite thing is to die. Sorry to say that, but it's true. And I do breed more than like other small scale, and the reason is, one, I have small breeds, so small litters equals easier death and more likely unshowable rabbits, with not enough in the litter to get some show out of them. They die very easily. Dwarf genetics have a part in it. They don't cause problems, they cause mutations, which those mutations will die. So basically, like half your litter could die off. The whole litter could be all mutated and you either have the mercy cull or just let it naturally die. Which, if the whole litter is bad, I'll mercy cull that out, because I'm not letting that thing suffer. And I've had really weird problems and struggles. This didn't happen this year, but technically last fall. I found out, well, we don't know 100%, but we believe that one of our show does, has a problem with her milk. It's not an infection because we've checked her and all this stuff, and you can tell if it's an infection. But we think that the problem is because we ended up actually fostering one of her babies because she had a big litter. That probably was her milk, because the one that survived was the one fostered. So we actually kind of experimented and did this again, and the whole litter survived because they weren't drinking their actual mother's milk. They were drinking a foster mom's milk, and we think that's the root cause. And if we have to do that, I will do it. That means she won't get bred as much, and she won't get bred as much. She'll probably get bred twice a year, and we have to plan her breedings better. I was supposed to wean her litter into separate litters, but actually the 2 other does that were supposed to have babies fizzled out, and the only one that had one was like the smallest freaking doe ever. So that happened. So I'm going to introduce you to the series, and I'm going to do an update video, so stay tuned for that. Okay, everything that has happened from January to April, buckle in, because I say not a lot has happened, but really that's a lie. First off, in December we did have an otter litter, but we're gonna ignore that and move on. Who was my first litter? I think all the babies died in January. Hold on. Sorry, I'm looking, hold on. Okay, we did have Pearl and Dixie did have litters. So Dixie actually ended up taking 7 babies at this time, so all in the nest box. A couple of them did die, and I think she had 5 at the end. She had 5. She produces a lot of milk, like you would be shocked, because those babies were fat. Everyone was getting fed very well. The 2 that died, just, normal, few losses. That was the most successful litter I've ever had. We're 7, and most of them were fosters. She only had 2 biological. Her one, she did, luckily, one of her babies did survive, and he is, oh my god, gorgeous. I think the other one was a little small, so I think that could be a problem. I've noticed she always has a small one and a big one. She always has 2, it's a small and a big. I've had the small one survive, but sometimes they don't. So those babies are weaned now. They're doing very good, and they look very promising, and I love them. Then Dawn had a litter. She had 5, and 1 survived, and we're gonna wean him today. That was in February, I think. I'm looking at this right. Then Iris also was bred. Yeah, she actually had babies. It was really weird. They both had them on the wire. I was in there when they had them, which they never kindle when I'm in there. They always kindle really late at night, so they kindle in the day. That was really weird. Had them on the wire. Okay, then, yeah, those two. So Iris did lose her litter, and I rebred her, and those babies were looking really good. They were so cute. I was like videoing them because they were so jumpy. Next day, dead. And they were all otters too, and they all looked really viable. Like, and she had 5, but the 3 were doing really well. The 3 that like were doing really well, around 2 or 3 weeks old. They were hopping. They were doing great. Passed. Then one of my new brood goats that I bred myself. Her name is Ella. Yeah, I named her after Ella Lately. I just put that in the pedigree records. She was bred, and I think she absorbed her litter because when I pollinated her, I could definitely feel babies. So I think she absorbed it, but it was her first time, so it's okay. I bred her again, so she's gonna be due at the end of this month. She's gonna be bred to my new show buck. Should have been first. Okay, Cannoli. Then I have a couple young brood does that are bred too. I'm trying to think. Oh, Rhonda had a litter. Only had 2. Sucks. We don't know. We genetically don't know what she is because she's a roux, so you don't know what the base is. What's underneath. But she had a black and a chocolate. I want to breed her to a lilac, but I don't have lilac bucks. I really want to breed her to a lilac buck. I only have blue chocolate carrion. I really want to breed her to a lilac bug. I might do that in the fall because I have baby lilacs and they'll be old enough to breed in the fall. Because I want to try to figure out what base she is. Obviously she was out of a chocolate and a blue, so we know she carries them both for sure. I know she can't be a blue or a lilac because the mom doesn't carry dilute, so she's either black or chocolate. And I'm really hoping she's chocolate based. I think that would be so awesome if she was, because I know she carries it, and I have to breed her to either a chocolate buck or a lilac buck to figure out if she's chocolate based. So basically how that works is you breed them, and I do it sometimes twice depending on the size of the litter. If there's like over 4, I'll say okay, that's all the odds. If she doesn't have a black, that means she's chocolate based. If she does, that means she is actually black based and carries both. You have to do it through breedings to figure out that genetic. I know there is genetic. You can see her in the back of her. I know there is genetic testing, but it's like no point in doing it, and it's like very undiscovered, and it's very new. For rabbits, it's very new. I think it would be cool. It's very new, and most of the time, by looking at a pedigree and breeding, you can figure out what they have. Some genetics do really hide, and it's really hard to find. But most of the genetics pretty easy if you breed them to a recessive. Okay, that's all of the updates from the past. I am going to do a video on my new updates and my new stuff. I will be posting, oh my god, oh my god, it's focusing on my nails. They're ugly. I'm just kidding. I will be doing the full series on my YouTube and my Pinterest. So I might post like the first intro / episode on my other stuff, but it will all be on Pinterest and TikTok, which all of my usernames are the same. But sometimes there's an underscore, sometimes not. You can usually figure out if it's my account by the profile picture, because it's I think all about my Pinterest is black and white photo of my rabbit. So it's sometimes it's capitalized. It just depends on the account. It's livestock girly. It's livestock. I don't remember if all of them are underscore girly, but yeah, girly, IE, not Y. So for some reason, certain accounts I cannot link it, but I do have a Google Doc. I do have a Google Doc with all my stuff on it. Just some things won't let me link it. I think it's on my Pinterest. And I have a Google Classroom and stuff. I haven't checked that in a while, but yeah. So my Pinterest, I think I'm gonna make a board soon and section all my series to make it easier to find, because Pinterest is really hard to navigate people's accounts. So I'll probably do that. Do that, and then so it makes it easier to find. I might do that today, but I have to do the rest of my updates and wean babies and stuff. So I'll see you guys next time.